The Syrian Civil War, also known as the Syrian Uprising, is an ongoing armed conflict taking place in Syria. The unrest began in the early spring of 2011 with nationwide protests against President Bashar al-Assad's regime, whose forces responded with violent crackdowns. The conflict gradually morphed from popular protest to an armed rebellion after months of military sieges. The Syrian government has been accused of using chemical gases against their own citizens. This brings up the question, should the U.S. get involved? I asked Mr. Wren about his views.
Difficult question. I think if we were to poll Americans, everyone's pretty tired of being involved in the war. However, I feel for President Obama. He sort of had to draw a red line in the sand, and I think all of us in a vacuum would feel like, yes, it is wrong if any country is using chemical weapons on their own people, and there should be some involvement. Um, Whether that's America or the UN or a combination of both is hard to say. But personally, yes, I do think we should get involved.
Dr. Cochran agrees with Mr. Wren.
I think that the current airstrike policy of the United States and potentially increasing military support is actually not going to help the situation at all. It might be a temporary fix, but I don't think it's going to do anything different than what we saw in Iraq and Afghanistan under the Bush administration, any different than the first Gulf War under the first Bush administration, and most U.S. foreign policy in that part of the world. Military involvement works temporarily, but it doesn't address the underlying concerns. What has to happen is the United States needs to rethink its diplomatic interactions with the Middle East. It needs to do a lot more on that front.
Unfortunately, if the U.S. gets involved, this could become a long, drawn-out conflict, such as toppling Saddam Hussein's Iraq, which killed 3,500 American soldiers and 75,000 Iraqis.
I think as a nation, we are both tired of being at war and probably pretty fatigued from, frankly, since World War II, when we kind of go to war, it's a little less clear who exactly we're fighting and how you decide if we win or lose. Particularly coming off of our recent engagement in the Middle East, it's hard to feel real confident, even knowing the bad things that are going on in Syria, that we can, that any change we do bring about is necessarily going to be good.
I think that's definitely one reason a lot of people are opposed it, because there's a weariness in this country for armed conflict. And if we think about most of our students here in the middle school, at least especially in the 6th grade, most of the 7th graders weren't even born when September 11th happened. They haven't lived a single day of their life in a country not at war. And I think as a general population, we're probably tired.
Dr. Cochran and Mr. Wren gave their opinions about the war and described America's wariness of wars and how this impacts people's views.